On my 18th birthday, I opened a letter marked "For When You're Ready." My hands trembled as I read the first line. "You were never supposed to know." My mother begged, "Please don't dig into this." My father whispered, "It's better this way." I took a deep breath and said, "Then why did you keep this hidden?" When I showed them the second letter, my mother started crying. I, 18 male, have no clue how to start this without it sounding insane, but I need to get it off my chest. My family has always been quiet. Not cold, not distant, just emotionally reserved. My mom is the sweet but anxious type who always acts like she's waiting for bad news. My dad is more stoic, the kind who only speaks when he really has something to say. Growing up in San Diego, things were stable. We lived in the same house my whole life. I went to the same schools, had the same friends. Nothing ever felt strange. No big family drama, no huge fights, just normal. Until my 18th birthday. I was in my room alone. I wasn't having a party or anything wild. Just dinner with my parents, a cake, and a few gifts. I was killing time when I remembered this old wooden box my mom had always kept in her closet. She called it the memory box, but I never saw what was inside. Once, when I was maybe 12, I asked about it, and she said, "It's for when you're older." I don't know what made me do it, but I went and looked. Inside were random old photos, cards, hospital bracelets from when I was born, and then I saw it. A plain envelope, yellowing a bit. On the front, in my mom's handwriting, it said, "For when you're ready." I wish I had put it back. I opened it. My hands were literally shaking, and I'm not even a dramatic person. The first line read, "You were never supposed to know." I froze. It was like my brain couldn't process what I was reading. I had to read that line 5 times. The letter was from my mom. She wrote it like she was terrified, not of me, but of the truth. She said she and my dad had agreed to tell me when I was 21, but she couldn't sleep at night anymore. That she felt like I deserved to know who I really was. That everything they had done was out of love. Then, in another handwriting, bolder, sharper, I realized it was my dad's. He had added, "It's better this way. Please understand." I didn't understand anything. I went straight downstairs. They were in the living room watching TV. I must have looked like a ghost because my mom jumped up as soon as she saw me. I just held out the letter and said, "What is this?" She went pale. I've never seen my mom cry instantly like that. Like, not even a single second passed. Just boom, tears. My dad didn't say anything. He just stared at me with this expression I couldn't read. "Then why did you keep this hidden?" I asked, my voice cracking. They didn't answer at first. My mom kept whispering, "I'm so sorry," over and over. Finally, after what felt like forever, my dad said, "We were going to tell you. Just not yet." "Tell me what?" He sighed and looked at my mom like he was asking for permission. She gave the tiniest nod. "You're adopted, Alex." I sat down. It felt like my legs stopped working. "What? No. No. You're joking." My mom grabbed my hand. Her fingers were cold. "It's true," she whispered. "We adopted you when you were a baby, just a few weeks old." I couldn't even speak. My head was spinning. "Your biological mother. She was my best friend," my mom said. That's when things got even more twisted. Her name was Marla. Not a name we ever spoke of often, but I remembered her. Vaguely. She used to come by when I was little. She died when I was around 10. Car accident. "And your biological father," my dad said, pausing. "It was Dean." Dean. That name hit me like a truck. Dean was my dad's business partner and best friend. He also died in that same car crash as Marla. They were in love, my mom said quietly. They were having an affair. I swear to God I couldn't breathe for a second. "You were the result of that affair," she continued. "They planned to keep you. They wanted a life together. But then, the accident. I felt sick. Like physically sick. I had to run to the bathroom and throw up. I came back, pale, shaking. "So you just took me?" "No," my dad said. "We adopted you legally. After they died, you had no other family. We loved you. We still do." I couldn't look at them. All those years, all those pictures in our living room, birthdays, holidays, vacations, and now it felt like none of it was real. I went back upstairs. I didn't know what else to do. I just sat there. For hours. Holding that first letter. But that wasn't the end. Around midnight, I opened the box again. There was another envelope. Smaller. Tucked behind a photo album. It wasn't from my mom or dad. The handwriting was different, more delicate. It was from Marla. "To my baby boy, if you ever learn the truth." I stopped reading. I haven't opened it yet. I don't know if I can, but I will. I have to. I just need to breathe first. Dear Alex, if you're reading this, then the truth has come out. Maybe not how we planned it, but it always finds a way. I don't know what your life looks like now, but I hope it's full of love. I want you to know something. You were wanted. Deeply. Desperately. I fought for you. And so did Dean. We were ready to walk away from everything, our marriages, our careers. We were scared, but you gave us purpose. But there's something else you need to know. Your adoption, it wasn't simple. I'm sorry. Please forgive me one day. Love always, Mom, ****. I read it 4 times. That line kept echoing. Your adoption, it wasn't simple. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it was bad. I confronted my parents again. Sat them down. Told them I read the second letter. I said, straight out, what wasn't simple about my adoption. And this time, my dad got angry. First time I'd ever seen him actually mad. He snapped, that woman should have never left that letter behind. My mom looked horrified. Mark, she gasped. You said you made peace with this. We covered this for 18 years, my dad said, his voice rising. Why stir it all back up? Because I'm living it. I yelled. This is my life. I deserve the truth. They went silent. And then my mom whispered the thing that flipped my whole world upside down. You weren't supposed to be adopted. I felt everything drop in my chest. What does that mean? I asked, voice shaking. She took a long breath. Couldn't even look at me. Dean and Marla, they were planning to move away. They had documents drawn up to get full custody of you. Marla had spoken to a lawyer. But when the accident happened, well, what? My dad spoke next. There was no will. No official guardianship. Just letters and some plans they never finished. When they died, you became a ward of the state. Temporarily. I stared at him, stunned. We petitioned for emergency custody. You were already staying with us often by then. We told them you had nowhere else. That we were close friends. It wasn't hard. But I had family. I asked. You said I had no other family. You had extended family, yes. But none of them stepped forward. My mom said, quieter than ever. Or maybe they didn't get the chance to. I said, barely above a whisper. Silence again. That's when the new thoughts started rolling in fast. What if I wasn't supposed to be with them? What if they rushed the process before anyone else could step in? What if someone out there had tried to fight for me and never got the chance? I went digging. I pulled out my birth certificate. There were no names listed under mother or father, just blanks. I checked my adoption paperwork. They were clean, almost too clean. No letters, no statements from other relatives, no caseworker info. Just signatures and a judge's stamp. I needed more. So I took a long shot. I went to our old family lawyer. I remembered his name from some documents I found. I told him I was looking into my adoption and wanted to understand the process better. He hesitated at first, said those records were sealed. But when I told him my name, he paused and said, I remember your case. It was complicated. That word again. He told me something I wasn't prepared for. Apparently, Dean's sister, a woman named Rachel, had tried to step in as my guardian right after the funeral. She filed paperwork, but it was rejected. Why? Because someone else had already filed for adoption, and it was granted unusually fast. I asked if I could contact Rachel. He wouldn't give me her number, but agreed to forward a message. I wrote something simple, just my name, that I wanted to talk, that I wanted to know the truth. Now I wait. I haven't told my parents yet that I found out about Rachel. I don't know how they'll react. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about them anymore. They raised me, fed me, loved me. But did they do the right thing? Or did they take something that wasn't theirs? So, Rachel responded. It took about 3 days. She emailed me through the lawyer. Short message. I've been waiting for you. Call me. Attached was her phone number. I stared at it for hours. Finally, I called. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Like someone who had practiced what to say for years. She asked if I was alone. I said yes. She said, Alex, I want to tell you what your parents won't. She wasn't angry. Not emotional. Just steady. She said she was Dean's younger sister. That she used to babysit me when I was a baby. That she was there the day I was born in Sharp Mary Birch Hospital in San Diego. That she had proof. Then she said this. They didn't just adopt you, Alex. They hid you from us. I asked what she meant. She told me that after Marla and Dean died in the crash on I-5, just outside Oceanside, she and her husband rushed to file for guardianship. Dean had told her months before that if anything happened, she was to take care of me. But when she got to the courthouse, she was told someone else had already claimed custody. She was shocked. How could that happen? So she started digging, and what she found made her believe I was taken, not by strangers, by people she knew. She said my adoptive dad, Mark, used a connection in the court system to push through emergency adoption without notifying all family members. On paper, it looked clean, but it skipped steps. Key people were never called or served notice. He made it look like we abandoned you, Rachel said. But we didn't even get a chance. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted her to be wrong, just bitter or confused. But then she said this. I have a copy of the guardianship petition we filed. It was dated 3 days before your adoption was finalized. How is that possible? I asked her to send it. She did. It's real. Dean's name, Marla's name, my name, all there. Dated. Notarized. Filed 3 days too late. And get this, her paperwork had a handwritten note on it from the court clerk. Applicant informed child already placed with family friends under emergency order. No further action. That was it. No hearing. No challenge. Just case closed. When I confronted my parents again, my mom completely broke down. Full sobbing, couldn't breathe, shaking. My dad just stood there like a statue. Why would you do that? I asked. Why didn't you let her try? And then my dad said something that made me feel like the floor opened beneath me. Because she would have taken you away from us. And we couldn't let that happen. Just like that. I asked him how. How did he push it through? He didn't even lie. He said one of his old college friends worked in family court. Said he made a few favors happen. Said it was the only way to keep you with people who actually loved you. My mom begged me not to hate them. We were terrified, she said. You were already calling me mama by then. We couldn't let you go to strangers. She's not a stranger, I snapped. She was your friend's sister. You knew her. Then my mom said it. I didn't trust her. She never liked me. She blamed me for the affair. She wouldn't have raised you the way we did. I walked out. I couldn't stay in that house. That night, I stayed with my friend Ryan. He didn't ask questions, just let me crash on his couch. And here's where it gets worse. Rachel texted me the next morning. If you're ready, I want to show you something. Something Marla left behind. I agreed to meet. We met at a diner in Oceanside. She brought a small box. Inside were pictures. Me as a baby, Marla holding me, Dean reading to me. A lock of hair. A hospital bracelet. Then a notebook. Marla's journal. Rachel handed it to me and said, start from the last page. So I did. The last entry was dated 2 days before the crash. And it said, my heart was in my throat. They were going to tell my adoptive parents everything. Not hide it. Not sneak away. Just talk it out. But they never got the chance. And when they died, that conversation never happened. So instead, my parents stepped in and kept everything buried. Now I'm left here, not knowing what to believe. I still don't know what I'm going to do. But this story isn't done yet. It all came to a head last weekend. Rachel asked me to come to her house in La Mesa. She said there were people who wanted to meet me. I wasn't sure I was ready for more, but something told me I had to go. When I arrived, I saw faces I didn't recognize, Dean's parents, my biological grandparents, Marla's cousin, and even an older man who turned out to be Marla's childhood friend. They were all quiet. They looked at me like I was a ghost, or maybe like a miracle. Rachel introduced everyone slowly, giving space. They were kind, soft-spoken. Some hugged me. Others just said, we're so glad to finally meet you. That stung, because I should have met them years ago. We sat in Rachel's living room. She showed me more pictures, old videos of Dean and Marla from the 90s, even a few of me as a newborn. My biological grandmother cried the whole time. And then, someone said the thing I'd been afraid of hearing. We tried for years to find you. But your parents disappeared. Rachel nodded. She said they had moved houses, changed phone numbers, even changed law firms. Every attempt to contact me had been met with silence or legal walls. I didn't want to believe that. I couldn't. But the facts were adding up fast. That night, I drove straight home. I didn't knock. I walked in, box in hand, heart beating like it was trying to escape my chest. They were sitting in the kitchen, like any normal night. Like the world wasn't on fire. We need to talk, I said. My dad looked up, saw the box, and immediately went pale. Alex, no, I snapped. You listen. All of you. Because I know everything now. I pulled out the documents. The guardianship papers. Marla's journal. The photo of her holding me on the hospital bed. I laid it all out on the table. You lied. You told me there was no family. But they were there. They're still there. And you shut them out. You ran. My mom was crying before I finished the sentence. We were scared, she said, barely audible. You weren't scared. You were selfish, I said. You made me believe I had no one else. And now I find out I had an entire family who wanted me? My dad stood up. He was angry now. We gave you everything, Alex. Everything. You had a good life. You had a roof. Food. School. Safety. Love. That's not the point. I shouted. You stole my right to choose. You didn't protect me. You trapped me. There was silence. Long, heavy. Then I said something I didn't plan. Something that just came out. You didn't save me. You rewrote me. That broke my mom. She collapsed into herself, sobbing. And then came the moment I'll never forget. My dad, staring straight at me, said, I'd do it again. Just like that. You were ours. We raised you. We loved you more than they ever could have. We made sure you never knew the pain of losing them. And I'm not sorry. I couldn't speak. I picked up the box. I said, then this conversation is over. And I walked out. It's been a month. I moved in with Rachel temporarily. It's strange but calm. I met more of my biological family. I even visited the cemetery where Dean and Marla are buried. I left flowers. And the original letter my mom wrote, the one that said, you were never supposed to know. Because now, I do. My adoptive mom texts me every few days. Just small things. I love you. Please be safe. We miss you. I haven't responded yet. My dad? Radio silence. That doesn't surprise me. My emotions are a mess. Some mornings I wake up angry. Other times I feel guilt, like I betrayed the only parents I ever really knew. Then that guilt fades, and I remember all the people I should have grown up knowing, people who were erased from my life. Ryan, my best friend, says it's okay to feel both things. Love and betrayal. Pain and gratitude. Nothing's clean here. And he's right. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive them. But I know this. I'm no longer living a lie. And I'm finally writing my own truth.